Father Alex, who can't be here today, I wanted him to know that he's the reason I bless myself the wrong way. And my friend from the University of Delaware, President Dennis Asanas. Where are you, Dennis? There you go. The President of the University. And his sons, Nicholas and Demetrius. Welcome, gentlemen. It's great to have you both here. And I like to joke about being known as Joe Bidenopoulos in my Greek-American community in Delaware. I only won by 3,100 votes when I ran as a United States Senator. And I think we got 92% of the Greek vote in Delaware. And the nickname stuck. Small population.
Good morning from Nicosia, Cyprus. And you just saw the opening clip from a press conference between Joe Biden and the Greek Prime Minister, Kyriakos Mitsotakis. And we can now call Joe Biden, Joe Bidenopoulos. Bidenopoulos. That is his new nickname. Not Sleepy Joe, not Potato Head. Biden. It is now Joe Bidenopoulos. And Biden came out with the revelation that back when he was running for the U.S. Senate in Delaware, it was the Greek-American vote that put him over the top. So for all the Greeks and Greek-Americans, on behalf of all the Greeks and Greek-Americans, I apologize for for putting Biden into the U.S. Senate. And later on, many, many years later, he would become president of what is now the most disastrous U.S. presidency, probably in history. So, the Greek Prime Minister was in D.C. He gave a speech to Congress as well. I was thinking of actually going over the speech, but to be quite honest, it's the same speech you've heard about 1,000 times. We will not give in to the authority of Russia and the tyranny of Putin, and we are stronger together and we're more united, and we're not going to let Russia change history and invade countries, and we're with Ukraine, we're on the side of Ukraine. And I mean, it's just the same speech that we've heard from just about every collective West leader. And Mitsotakis is very firmly entrenched in the globalist collective West side of things. Actually, he even said it in the speech. He said that we had to choose a side, and we chose the collective West. He pretty much said that. And it's interesting because the president of Finland actually said the same thing just yesterday. He said that as he was considering the choice of going into NATO or not, he didn't cite Russia as the reason for his wanting to be in NATO. He just said that in today's world, you can't be neutral and you have to pick a side, and Finland is going to choose the side of the EU and of the collective West and of NATO. So he actually said that it's all about choosing sides. And I guess that is what a bipolar or multipolar world is all about. So Mitsotakis also brought up Turkey in his speech. This is a nice place to sit down. And he mentioned Turkey, and he brought up the Turkish, how Turkish fighter pilots always cross over into Greek airspace, and he talked about the Turkish invasion of Cyprus in 1974, something that Zelensky did not do when he spoke to the Greek parliament, along with the Nazi Azov guy that was stuck in the catacombs in the steel factory. Zelensky didn't bring up the Turkish invasion of Cyprus when he was speaking to the Greek parliament, but at least it's good that Mitsotakis decided to bring it up in Congress. Not that the U.S. Congress cares, because if they cared, then they would have done something after 46 years of doing nothing. But Mitsotakis went to the U.S. and he did this tour, and he's really not getting anything from the U.S. I mean, he's going there and he's just kind of showing up in D.C. He's going to get a pat on the head, an attaboy, good job, Kyriakos, and he's going to come back home to Greece. He's not really getting something from negotiating diplomatic level for all of the compliance that Greece has shown to the Biden White House. You got to keep in mind that Mitsotakis, who is now presiding over what is a disastrous foreign policy in Greece, a historically disastrous foreign policy agenda in Greece, he gave up a lot to side with Bidenopoulos, and he destroyed a centuries-old brotherly friendship with Russia and the Russian people, and he's coming up basically with nothing for it. His compliance, his obedience to the world order is leading to nothing in return. Basically, all that Greece is getting is more U.S. military bases, which is not really a win. It's more of a loss, if you ask me. But Turkey, there's a country that's getting something. There is a leader, Erdogan, who knows how to leverage Turkey's position and to negotiate, and to also stay neutral. Because when Kyriakos Mitsotakis was giving his speech to Congress, with Kamala Harris on one side, Nancy Pelosi on the other, and he was talking about tyranny and authoritarianism to the U.S. Congress with Pelosi and Harris to the right and left of him. That's pretty odd. But Mitsotakis is talking about authoritarianism and you shouldn't invade other countries and all of these things, and he's doing this in front of the U.S. Congress, mind you. But what did I want to say? He said that, Greece and the United States, they're united and stronger. The relations between them are stronger than ever, and they're more united because of what Russia has done to them. Something along those lines. I'll put it up on the screen so you could read what he said. But basically, he was inferring that, once again, this is not a war or a conflict or a special military operation, however you want to label it. This is not a conflict between Russia and Ukraine. This is a conflict between us and Russia. In other words, we and Russia. And he was just affirming that. He was parroting that line that we've been hearing from American politicians and EU politicians over the last couple of weeks, the we versus Russia narrative. And he was parroting it. Of course, he's being scripted and told what to say. And that speech, by the way, definitely looked like it was written by people in D.C., not by people in Greece. But it's interesting that he says that, because I think to myself, once again, has the Hellenic Republic, have they signed some sort of treaty and agreement with Ukraine, specifically saying that should the territorial integrity of Ukraine come under attack, that Greece promises to intervene? I mean, is there an alliance? Is there an agreement between Greece and Ukraine that stipulates that says such a thing? Once again, is Ukraine in the European Union? Are they in NATO? Is Greece obligated to destroy its own economy, which it is doing right now, and to destroy its own foreign policy interests over the last 100 years, which it has done in the span of 3 months? Is Greece obliged to do that because of Putin's special military operation? I don't know, but that's the way Mitsotakis was talking. He was talking as if there's some sort of secret alliance between Greece, the United States, and Ukraine. But Turkey, on the other hand, Turkey's in NATO, but they've managed to remain neutral and to play the diplomacy card. And Erdogan has done it quite skillfully. Erdogan is definitely, with this instance, he is playing chess. And all the other countries in the EU are playing checkers. And I think I'm being even too kind by saying that they're playing checkers. It's more like a circular firing squad or something along those lines, or punching themselves in the face repeatedly. That's more like the game that the EU leaders are playing. They're just kind of hitting themselves nonstop. But Erdogan is playing chess, because he came out with a statement highlighting what he wants in return for his yes vote for Finland and Sweden to get into NATO. And what a list it is. What a list it is from Erdogan. Not only does he want all kinds of things from the United States, but he also wants to thoroughly embarrass the leaders of Finland and Sweden. And good on him, because he's going to get it. He's going to get everything he asks for, because NATO cannot afford, and the Bidenopoulos White House cannot afford not getting Sweden and Finland into NATO, because at this point in time, it's the only thing that the collective West has. It's the only short-term W that they could register, and it's not even a W at that. You can say it's a win for NATO and a win for the military-industrial complex, but it's a huge loss for Finland and Sweden. And the Finnish and Swedish leaders that are signing away their neutrality to become puppets of NATO, they're going to go down in history as some of the worst leaders Finland and Sweden has ever known. But Erdogan is, he's saying, look, you want my yes vote? Here's what I want, and I know you're going to give it to me, because if I do decide to vote no in the end of June, well, then it's going to be very, very embarrassing, not only for NATO, not only for the Bidenopoulos White House, but also for the leaders of Finland and Sweden, because they've essentially given up their neutrality, and if they don't get NATO for relinquishing their neutrality, well, then you're talking about a massive political disaster and a PR optics disaster on a huge scale. So they have to get into NATO. Finland and Sweden, they put it all on the line to at least go back to their population and say, look, no referendum, no vote, none of that, but we got into NATO. At least we got into NATO, and they need that. And NATO needs it because the collective West is losing the war on the ground in Ukraine. They're losing the economic war in a big, big way. And they don't have anything else left except for the PR optics war. So they really need this entrance of Finland and Sweden into NATO. Erdogan is saying, look, you want to get into NATO, Finland and Sweden? The first thing you have to do is you have to renounce the PKK, the Kurdish Workers' Party, which you support. And you have to say that they're a terrorist organization. You have to come out and say they are terrorists. And boy, is that going to be embarrassing for Sweden and Finland to come out and say that, specifically Sweden. Sweden is going to really get a bloody nose by coming out and saying the PKK, the Kurds, the Kurdish Workers' Party is a terrorist organization. Yes, Mr. Erdogan, we agree. That is going to be, Erdogan is going to be just smiling from here to here when he gets Finland and Sweden to say that. The other thing that he's asking for removal of the sanctions, the embargo actually that Sweden, I believe Sweden, has placed on Turkey because of the Kurds and the PKK. I believe that Sweden placed an arms embargo on Turkey, or a trade embargo on Turkey, and Erdogan wants that lifted as well. And then he wants from the United States to be led into the F-35 program again, because the United States has sanctioned Turkey, because Turkey purchased the S-400s from Russia. And they said, okay, if you're going to go through with the S-400 purchase, well, then we're not going to sell you any more parts to maintain your F-35s. And we're not going to let you purchase any F-16s either. And now Erdogan is coming back and saying, no, no, no. Not only am I going to be allowed to keep the S-400s, number one, you are going to let me purchase F-16s, number two, and any parts and maintenance, anything I want with regards to the F-35 program, you have to give it to me. They're going to give it to him. They are going to give it to him. And if they give him all of these goodies, and he may ask for more, we got a whole month left before the vote. He may ask for some more things. But once he gets this first round of goodies, then he'll vote yes for Finland and NATO to get into Sweden. For Finland and Sweden to get into NATO. But yeah, Erdogan is just crushing it, I have to admit, with regards to Ukraine and Russia. He's kept Turkey and NATO. He's kept good relations with Russia and Putin. And actually, I believe that Lavrov, if I'm not mistaken, Lavrov should be in Ankara, I think today, actually, either today or tomorrow. He's kept great relations with Russia. He's actually mediated one of the negotiations between Ukraine and Russia. And now he's going to embarrass Finland and Sweden, and he's going to get everything he asks for from the United States. And he's going to keep the S-400s. Someone is winning big, and that person's name is Tayyip Erdogan. But so that's what's going on there. What else should we talk about? I've got a really good clown world, by the way, as well. Let's talk about what's going on in Ukraine on the ground. There is some news that, and I haven't been able to confirm it quite yet, though I think the general narrative of this story is true and is factual, and that is that the Russians have encircled the Ukraine military in Lysychansk, Severodonetsk area, north Lugansk area, just south of Kharkov, north of Lugansk, northwest. And it looks like they've encircled the Ukraine military because Zelensky would not listen to his military commanders and retreat his men to a safer position. He gave them orders to stay there and not move. And so it looks like they have been encircled in a cauldron. And what I can't figure out is if it's 8,000 or 16,000. I've heard both. So I don't know if it's 8 or 16. And I don't know if this cauldron is fully closed or not, or what's the status there. But I've heard they've pretty much been encircled, or they're about to be encircled. And it is between I've heard reports of 8,000 to 16,000 Ukraine military. So that's the update there. We also had this should be a clown world, but we had some Ukraine soldiers running up to the border in Kharkiv, and they were actually carrying, and the videos everywhere, they're actually carrying a border post sign, I guess, a big log, a big stick with the Ukraine colors around it to signal, I guess, that a border is there. And they were actually carrying this with them, and they were running up to what they say is the border between Russia and Ukraine and Kharkiv. And they took this really interesting Instagram video where they talk to Zelensky and they say, "Mr. President, we've done it. We've reached the border of Russia." And they plant this border post. That's the word, border posting. And they just plant it in the dirt. And they all get there in front of the camera. They take their video and their photos. They send their message to Imperial leader Zelensky, and then they all scatter. And then they run away and they pick up their border post and they run back to the woods. And everyone on Twitter is saying, "This is a huge victory. This is an amazing win for the Ukraine military. They've reached the border of Russia in Kharkiv." And I'm just well, there's hundreds of miles of border that the Russians aren't touching between Russia and Ukraine. I mean, this is not a big deal to reach the border of Russia. And what's next? What's the goal? Okay, so you reach the border of Russia. You're going to go into Russia and invade. And sure enough, there were some people on Twitter who actually said, now Ukraine is going to begin a military operation to invade Russia. And no one in the Ukraine media spin machine has realized that the Russians are they're not fighting in those areas really. They're just they're pinning the Ukraine military down. They're maneuvering around the area, and they're pretty much letting the Ukraine soldiers move in and out of villages and reach the border without being obstructive. I mean, there's no Russian military that was impeding them there. And there were no fights or battles there for the Ukraine military to go there and stick that border post. But it's all optics, you see. It's all optics, and it's all about creating that viral Instagram video. That's more important than actually winning battles. You have to get that Instagram video. And you look at them, they all get down in position, they all smile, they all do their poses, and they all send their message to Zelensky because they know that video is going to go viral. And, okay, I guess if a viral post is more important than actually winning the war, fine. But I guess it goes back to what I was saying. That's all the collective West has at this point. And I think that's all that Zelensky cares about. I don't think Zelensky cares about actually winning the war and saving Ukraine military men's lives. I think he cares more about the spin, the media, the PR, the optics, the virality of it all, the virality of his social media messages. I think that's of more concern to Zelensky than actually fighting this this war. It's really weird what we're seeing, but so be it. Zelensky's an actor, and I guess for an actor, this is more comfortable for him, these types of videos and PR media spins. So I just wanted to get that out there, and that should have been a Clown World, but I've got a different story for Clown World. The other thing that I want to talk about is two more stories. I want to discuss actually Bloomberg, the Bloomberg story about how the Biden White House is going to now cancel the sanctions waiver for bondholder payments from Russia. So I'm going to talk about that. And I also want to discuss, what did I want to talk about? There's Lysychansk, there's Kharkiv, Azovstal. It looks like everyone's been evacuated. Remember, it's not a surrender, it's an evacuation. Everyone has been evacuated from Azovstal, including not only the Azov NAZIs, but also a lot of high-level, how should we put them? High-level foreign fighters, high-level retired foreign personnel. Let's just call them that for now. It looks like they've all been evacuated to Russia and to Donetsk. Isn't it interesting that they use the word evacuation? Zelensky has successfully, this is great, here's the narrative. Okay, I got it. Zelensky has successfully evacuated the fighters in Azovstal to Russia. That is the narrative that the BBC and the CNN want us to believe. That Ukraine and Zelensky, they have successfully evacuated the 2,000 Azov NAZIs to Russia. Does that not sound a bit strange? They've evacuated them to Russia and to Donetsk, to the DPR, Donetsk People's Republic. We've evacuated them to Russia so they can be interrogated by the Russian officials. And boy, are they going to be interrogated. The Azov guys are already being photographed. I mean, when they take the photographs of the Azov guys without their shirts, I mean, these guys have got so much NAZI ink on them. It's stunning. I mean, it's really shocking when you see these photographs. These are the people that the Greek government and Mitsotakis, these are the people that you're supporting. The Greek media actually called these guys with all these tattoos on them, these NAZI tattoos, they actually compared them to the Spartans in 300. Shameful, absolutely shameful, especially when you consider Greece's history with the NAZIs. But, oh, another accident right there. Yep, an accident. This is the second accident that I've caught while I'm filming. So she was driving, and he had his what do you call that? The window, God, I forgot what the hell you call that. The rear view mirror. Not the rear view. Is that the rear view? The side mirror. And she hit the side mirror. Boom. Yep. Let's see if we can get a peek. Yeah, no big deal. Everyone's okay, no one's hurt. Insurance will take care of it. And she just picked up the mirror. She feels bad. It happens. So, yeah, these guys are getting interrogated. They're getting photographed. They're being vetted. I'm sure the guys that are not NAZIs, after they do a very thorough vetting, if there were any non-NAZIs in those catacombs, I'm sure they're just going to be classified as POWs and they'll be taken care of. The NAZIs, I would not want to be them. I would not want to be one of these guys with a NAZI tattoo at this moment in time being interrogated by the Russians. And as far as the retired foreign personnel that I understand are in Russia and in Moscow right now, boy, oh boy, I wonder what they're going to be saying. But yeah, that's going to be interesting. So the Russians are going to be vetting and interrogating these guys. They are setting up tribunals sometime later in the summer, maybe towards the beginning of October, sometime around there. The Duma and the Russian courts, they're getting all the legal requirements in order, dotting their I's, crossing their T's to set up tribunals. And the Russian UN High Representative is also calling for the UN to begin an investigation into the biolabs in Ukraine as well. So all of this stuff is happening at this very moment, and it's all being set up to lead to some sort of big event, I believe, some sort of big tribunal, biolabs, foreign fighters, expose, which is going to take place sometime in towards the end of summer or September, October, November, who knows. But the Russians are preparing all of this, and you better believe me, they are going to trot all these people out, and they're going to put them in front of the world stage and ask them, what were you doing in Ukraine? What was your business? What were you up to? What was going on in those catacombs? What were you cooking up? All of these things are going to be brought to the public, and most importantly, brought to the Russian people, because at the end of the day, I believe that a lot of this is going to be done so that the Russian people see what this special military operation was all about. So, a final story now, and that has to do with Bloomberg, and they are reporting that the Biden White House is about to scrap their bond payment waiver, which they put in place when they put sanctions on Russia. They put a waiver in place so that the Russian government can continue to pay bondholders in the United States. And it looks like they're going to waive that on the 25th of May when the payment is due, because the Biden White House, they don't have any more sanctions to throw at Russia anymore. They're tapped out. And so the only thing left for them to do is to try and spin in the media some sort of Russian bankruptcy or default. And that's what this is all about, because Russia has a ton of money. I mean, they are awash in money. Look at the price of oil, look at the price of gas. Russia has more money than they know what to do with at this point in time. And they could easily make those bond payments. But the Biden White House is trying to engineer a bankruptcy because that's all they have left. And because they want to get the narrative out next week that Russia is bankrupt and they've defaulted. And that's going to be the media spin. Remember, all the collective West has at this moment anymore, all they have left is media spin. That's all that they can do. And the media spin for this is going to be the Biden White House's sanctions are working. They've crippled Putin's war machine because Russia is now bankrupt and they can't make payments on their debt. And it's working. Russia is crumbling. The Russian economy is collapsing. That's going to be the narrative that CNN, MSNBC, New York Times, that's what they're going to run with. And that's the goal of waiving this waiver, of canceling this waiver. What it's going to really do, in reality, what it's going to do is that it's going to push the U.S. bondholders, the people in the U.S. that actually are holding this debt, to sue the Biden White House. Because Russia is going to come along and say, you know, we've got money to pay you guys off, but the Biden White House doesn't let us pay you guys off. So, force majeure, we can't pay you. We have the money, but we're not allowed to pay you. So, force majeure, we're out. Contracts canceled. See you later. Dos vidania. And by the way, being in debt with regards to the Western financial architecture is really meaningless for Russia at this point. That's what they're going to say, because we're already out of the Western financial system. So we don't need any loans. We don't need any IMF. We don't need any World Bank. We have no need for that stuff. We really don't have any need for euros and dollars anymore either. So being labeled as bankrupt by Moody's and Fitch doesn't really mean anything to Russia at this moment in time. So they're going to be like, see you all later, force majeure. And the U.S. debt holders are going to go to Biden and they're going to say, Mr. Bidenopoulos, we're going to sue you because we want our money. And that's exactly what's going to happen. So the Biden White House, in order to score some cheap media PR points, they are willing to bankrupt their own bondholders, their own debt holders in the United States. and they're willing to go into litigation in order to score some cheap media points. And that's exactly what is going to happen. So, with that said, let's do a quick clown world. And this clown world has to do with a 4-star general, Mr. McCaffrey, I believe is his name. Actually, the guy in the Tom Cruise movie, A Few Good Men, I think his name was McCaffrey as well. Wasn't it? But yeah, A Few Good Men. That was a good movie with Tom Cruise and Jack Nicholson and Demi Moore. Very good movie. But I think the main character was named McCaffrey. Anyway, this 4-star general, he decided to tweet a video the other day of, and I'll put the video right now up on screen so you can see, and you can see his tweet of the Ukraine air defense system knocking out those Russian fighter jets. And his tweet was something along the lines of, you know, look at the Ukraine defense system taking out those Russian fighter jets. Ukraine is winning. They're demolishing Russia. Ukraine's defense system is top notch. It's really, you know, really top of the line. The only problem with that video that the 4-star general decided to tweet was that it was a video from a video game. And this is not the first time we've seen video games tweeted by these guys, by these bozos. But yeah, he decided to tweet a video game. And this is a 4-star general, mind you. A 4-star general. First of all, what is a 4-star general? A retired 4-star general. What are you doing on Twitter anyway? You shouldn't be on Twitter. This guy's 79 years old. You should be like with your grandkids, enjoying life, not even caring about all of this stuff. Why are you tweeting videos that you think show the Ukraine army beating the Russians? Why are you even tweeting stuff as a 4-star general? It's so beneath the U.S. military for these guys to be tweeting that alone is clown world. Now, the fact that a 4-star general who you would imagine knows the difference between a video game and real life, the fact that he's tweeting this and praising the Ukraine military, well, that's just a whole nother clown world, isn't it? So that's the clown world, everybody. I'll leave it there. Yeah, I think I'll leave it there. No more to say. No mas. So Alexander's channel, check it out. He's doing great analysis on what's going on in Ukraine. The Duran, we did a live stream with Gonzalo Lira yesterday. Check that out. That was a great stream with Gonzalo. And the Duran.locals.com. Please join us there. Take care.